and thanks for tuning in to our Boost Your Local SEO webinar. My name is Jessica Guadiana, and I'm a digital marketing specialist here at LKCS. Today, I'll be covering different aspects of local SEO strategies, which are an essential part of an overall marketing plan that can help connect your bank or credit union with the communities you serve. So if you have any questions for us today, you can go ahead and submit them into the webinar chat box, and we'll try and get back to you with the best possible answers. So before we dive into it, I also want to briefly introduce LKCS as a company to any of you who are new here or aren't yet familiar with our services. We offer marketing and direct mail, web design and development. We offer print and mailing solutions with our own in-house facility, as well as statements and e-statement processing. We have experts covering each of these fields, and we specialize in working with the financial industry. Okay, so local SEO. We're going to break things down into 4 core strategies that play the strongest role in boosting your online visibility. And that's on-page SEO, things you can do directly on your website, your Google My Business listings, citation signals, which goes beyond just Google My Business, and review generation. So we're talking about building online reviews and managing your reputation. And then at the end of our talk today, I'm going to give you some actionable items you can start working on to improve your local SEO. So let's set the scene for why it deserves your attention. 46% of all searches on Google, out of the billions of searches a day, nearly half of those have local intent, meaning people are searching online to find a local business, events, or just general information about something nearby. And 97% of people learn more about a local company online versus other resources. And 70% of consumers who do a search will actually visit a location, and 88% of those will call or visit within 24 hours. So how do we reach these people? So let's start with a quick refresher of search engine optimization, or SEO, and what that is. So with SEO, we're trying to be in those top spots for when someone does a keyword search on Google or Bing. You want those users to see and click on your organic listing and visit your website. With local SEO, we're drilling that all down to a specific location. We're telling Google that not only is our content or website about this topic that they're looking for, but also we're in or serve the area they are in or are researching about. So when you do a localized search, you'll see search results that are a bit different from searching something in general. You'll see results from local businesses or news sites, and you might even see Google's local pack results, which is when a map pops up and a set of Google My Business listings appear under it. So what are they looking for in order to return relevant results to you? So we can actually break that down to 3 things. First is proximity, how close a user is in relationship to your financial institution. Search engines can pinpoint the user's zip code from their computer or phone, or get even more granular with exact geo-coordinates. And so they want to show branches which are physically closest to that user. And then prominence. So they also look at various signals to see if your financial institution is trustworthy. This could be coming from links from other trustworthy sites, or online reviews, and even actual foot traffic to your branches. And then there is relevance. How relevant is the information on your website to what the user is searching for? What information appears on your Google My Business listing that helps connect you with what they are looking for? So you can help define relevance on your website with on-page SEO. According to last year's local SEO industry report, this was considered to be the #1 ranking factor. If you want a chance to reach the top, you have to do on-page SEO work. And what I mean by this is making sure your website talks about the things you want to rank for and the locations you want to be found in. Before you start any on-page SEO efforts, figure out what people are actually searching for to find the information you have. What do you want to rank for? So you'll need to do a little bit of keyword research, which can be done with various tools available, but also by listening to your account holders and the way that they speak. Do they say car loans more often than vehicle loans or home loans versus mortgages? So understanding these nuances can help you decide which keywords to focus on and frame your content around. Next, you'll need to localize your keywords to narrow it down to the specific locations you serve. So start by creating a list of the towns and cities you have physical branches in, and then build out to neighboring areas if you'd like to expand further. Then decide, how do people in your area search for local things? Do they search by the town name, or is it the town name with the state written afterwards? So asking this question is actually important. And a good example to explain it would be for someone searching for banks in Paris. So this is going to give you completely different search results than someone who actually wants results for banks in Paris, Texas. So make sure you define these locations well and combine them with the service keywords you defined earlier. And ultimately, your list will be a blend of general keywords and keywords combined with locations. Okay, so now that you know what to rank for, you'll need to include these phrases, locations, and overall topics onto your website to build content relevance. But you want to make sure that you're writing and creating something that makes sense and is beneficial to the actual people visiting your site. So things like stuffing keywords on every page, that is going to be awful for anyone trying to read it. So stay away from those types of old strategies. What you should focus on are actually these essential on-page SEO strategies, which include page title tags, making sure your page titles feature your primary keyword, the location if possible, and make it engaging or something that will stand out on a search results page. And then meta descriptions. So these generally appear on a search results page and give you a short description of what your page is about. So this is another place to make your listings stand out and encourage click-throughs. Optimizing your content and building it out to be more informative is going to be your biggest strategy investment. So at the basic level, you should include keywords in your content as it makes sense to, and again, don't keyword stuff. But the styles of content you offer is what's going to be of value. You can offer short form content that breezes through subject matters with simple bullet points and short paragraphs. And this can provide a good user experience for people looking for basic and quick information. And then on other pages, you can get a lot more in depth on a topic and really explain in full everything someone would need to know on, let's say first time homebuyer loans or refinancing an auto loan. So this type of long form content is going to give you the ability to create new pages that can rank for additional keywords, draw on traffic from people who are in an early research phase. So, maybe they heard about refinancing an auto loan and want to know more about what it is, but they don't necessarily need to contact you yet. But now that they've read your helpful article, they are aware of you and your expertise. And then there's evergreen content, which is content that has kind of universal truths about a topic and doesn't really go out of date. So it is seen as a trustworthy page that can be relied on as a good source of information. And then this new content helps support your site as a whole by making it appear trustworthy across the board. So of course, your site needs to list out the name, addresses, and phone numbers of each branch. And you can do that on a contact page or locations page. And you can also include that information in your website's footer if you have a few locations. And you can embed a Google map to make it easy for account holders to get directions. And if you have many locations, Consider creating landing pages for each one that offers unique information for each, and you can go further and highlight special offers or events that are specific to that one single branch. So another important element is actually your website's user experience, which we've discussed in past webinars that you can find on our YouTube channel. But if you can create an engaging experience on your website that keeps people interested and on the page, that's going to help signal that Google and search engines are directing people to the right content. So look at improving things like your overall design, mobile experience, content layout, and call to actions. So I also want to take a minute to talk about schema structured data. So while this isn't considered yet to be an official direct ranking factor, it still has a lot of value and impact. Structured data basically helps define and classify your pages and their content so search engines can better understand their meaning. This code essentially labels your content by saying, hey, this line of text here is an address, or the content on this page is about a deposit account. So from an SEO point of view, it can help in two ways. One, it can help make your search listing stand out from the others. So Schema can populate what's called rich snippets. And these are the little enhanced features you'll see with some sites, like a review count, a thumbnail image, or event dates. So when your listing stands out more, it can increase clicks to your site. It can also help with voice search. So anyone who's asking Siri or Alexa to look up some information, some of the answers they repeat back can be defined with schema. And the labels it creates are giving your content context in a format that's easy for the devices to recognize. So schema can be hand-coded into your site, or we offer a tool that can help you add and manage it more easily. It's a good time saver and great for anyone who's not an experienced programmer. All right, so those are the things you can do directly on your website. Let's switch gears and talk about what you can do outside of it, starting with Google My Business. So it's a free business listing or profile that helps you connect with people using Google Search, Maps, and even when they're interacting with online ads. It's designed specifically for local businesses. And it features key information like your address, which users can request directions to, your days of operation and business hours, your phone number, which they can click to call directly from, and photos of your branch, so users can recognize it from the street when they arrive. There's also your website address, which users can click through to, reviews and a review score that's left directly on the listing, and categorization, defining what kind of business you are. And then there's information about your services, which you can list as much detail as you'd like. And there's also posts, which are like social media posts you can use to keep people updated on what's happening. And this has actually been really useful during the last year. So this is a highly visible listing, and you'll want to make sure the information on it is accurate and complete. The more details you can provide, the more likely your listing will show up when people do a search. So the first step is to make sure you've claimed the listing for each of your branch locations. Every branch gets its own, and you'll want to claim one for each, preferably under one account to make it much easier for you to manage. Having ownership is important because users can actually come to your listing and submit their own updates. So they are basically crowdsourcing for the latest information, which does work in certain situations. So, for instance, if that old pizza place in town finally closed down, they want users to be able to submit that information in case the owners did not. However, when a user submits an update, it does not necessarily update right away. So as an owner, you'll be able to accept or reject updates as they come in to ensure what is posted is accurate. You'll also receive notifications like when a new review comes in, and then you can act on it right away. So how can you know if your listing is claimed or not? Do a search for your branch, and if you see a link on it that says own this business, that means no one has claimed it yet. It just exists based on user information that they have. So click on that link and follow the steps to verify you are the rightful owner of this. And generally, that process will include Google mailing you a postcard with a verification code that you can enter into your account. And then this proves that you do own this location and receive mail there. So Google My Business is just one example of building up citation signals for your website. You can also claim your listings on other websites like Bing Places or Yelp. So in fact, the more sites you can claim your listings and add the right information to, the better for your local SEO. What search engines want is consistency among your local citations, which include any online mention of your name, address, and phone number. And it can filter down to having the correct hours of operation, categorization, descriptions, taglines, links to social media, and images. So when all of these start to match each other and draw a clearer, more trustworthy picture about your branch location and website, that sends a good signal to Google that your financial institution is valid. That's a location they'll want to trust. Problems arise when there are too many inconsistencies between listings and trying to manage it all to stay consistent. So if you're displaying old, outdated information, like an old phone number or even a phone number from another branch, that can start to erode trust. Or if you've moved locations and some listings are displaying the old address still, that can cause problems. And again, users can submit their own information about your listings that's overwriting the correct information you want. Or there's duplicate listings that might exist on the same site that are conflicting with each other. And obviously, these types of issues are all bad for the user experience. You don't want your account holders to call an old phone number, so you definitely want to take steps to fix it. But it can take time to make sure your listings are all correct. So for starters, what sites do you even start fixing? And how do you know where the duplicates are? So you can use our free tool, which will scan various sites to see how consistent your branch listings are. So go to scan.lk-cs.com and fill out your location information. It will give you a report showing you where there are issues and inconsistencies. If you have more than one branch, make sure you select the option for a multi-location business so you can take that into consideration. And of course, you can use the report to help you dive in and get these corrected on your own time. But if you just don't have time for another task, you can let us know. So our local listings management tool will sync each of your branches with the sites listed and begin automatically pushing out the right data from one trusted source, which is us. The sites we have direct connections with have their own network of websites that will begin picking up the new data and updating it. So it goes further than the sites that we have direct connections with. The tool will also detect duplicate listings that we can notify the directories to suppress as long as it's active. And anytime you have an update, so for instance, to your hours of operation or phone number, you can tell us and then we'll get that updated for you in the system. So having something like this, speaking from experience, it's been really handy during the last year when we had clients with hours that were changing all the time and lobbies were opening and closing. So it was just much easier for everyone to get this latest information out as quickly as possible from one tool. So reviews are kind of my favorite SEO signal. Building up online reviews is critically important when it comes to improving your search engine visibility and creating a positive customer experience. So, think about how important reading through online reviews are during your own research process. Think about when a new restaurant opens in town. What's the first thing that you do? You're going to read some online reviews to see if the food and service is any good. So the same steps can be taken by consumers trying to figure out which bank or credit union to open an account or seek a loan from. It's a big decision to make, and most people want to know the good and bad before making a commitment. So building a positive reputation online can help build trust, convert searchers into leads, and boost local search rankings. So it can bring you some SEO karma. If you're able to deliver a positive customer experience that leads to an increase in positive reviews, that can help increase your search engine rankings. Specifically, in local pack results, review signals make up about 15% of Google's local pack ranking factors. And on average, websites ranking in the top 1 to 3 local positions have an average of 47 reviews on their Google My Business listing, and a 5-star rating earns a business 39% more clicks on their search listing versus a 1-star rated site. So Google wants to display banks or credit unions with 4 or 5-star ratings. They don't want to direct people to 1-star locations everyone is hating on. So building up positive reviews is an important step towards increasing website traffic and foot traffic and phone calls. So, as we're going through the buying cycle, we already know word of mouth works exceptionally well for driving new business. And that's been true since the beginning of time. We trust our family and friends, but we also trust online reviews. So, in fact, 88% of consumers trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations from friends. So the words of a total stranger carry the same weight as a longtime friend or even family member. And people are reading them. 82% of consumers read online reviews for local businesses, including 93% of people aged 35 to 54. And they spend around 14 minutes reading reviews before making a decision. So your online reviews need to be fairly new because that's expected. 48% only pay attention to reviews that have been written in the last 2 weeks. And that's up quite a bit from 5 years ago when consumers were willing to go back 3 months. So they are savvy shoppers and researchers. They know things may have changed since the last review was posted, and they want to see an active financial institution that is getting new reviews and helping account holders on the regular. If there are no reviews present or just old ones, it raises red flags. It leads people to think, why isn't anyone saying nice things about this credit union while the bank across the street has a lot more reviews? What are they doing wrong? And are they even open anymore? So, as you're collecting reviews, you're also expected to respond to them, both good and bad. 97% of consumers who read reviews will read your responses because that gives them an insight into how your customer service team works. Are you friendly and helpful, or do you get defensive? Responding to positive reviews is easy. So, at the bare minimum, you should thank the person for taking the time to review you and for choosing your financial institution. But when it comes to responding to negative reviews, that's a bit scarier. But unfortunately, you cannot ignore a negative review. 45% of consumers say they're more likely to visit a business that takes the time to respond to negative reviews, and 53% expect a business to do so within a week. So, how do you respond? Well, the first thing to not do is get defensive. Don't air out everyone's dirty laundry in public. And you've probably seen that play out at some point yourself, and it almost never looks good for the business in the end. Responding with some hostility will most likely be off-putting to new members because not only are they reading about a negative experience, but now they see how they would be treated if an issue arose with their account. So the main goal is to be empathetic and to take the conversation offline if it needs to go beyond this interaction. So I would suggest you sit with your team and put together some general responses that can cover a few scenarios and can be used as a foundation for more specific and customized responses. So your review responses should address the reviewer by name to personalize it. Thank them for their time and feedback. Everything is a teachable moment and we can only learn from our mistakes. And apologize. Yeah, saying sorry isn't easy for everyone to do, but in this situation, you want to be empathetic to how the reviewer feels and show that you're ready to listen. So doing so can also be an opportunity to start rebuilding trust. And then take responsibility. So nobody likes excuses or wants to hear them. And the reviewer had a bad experience, and that's what they care about most right now. So acknowledge that their experience didn't live up to expectations and provide reassurance that you're learning from it. Now, maybe it was a one off bad interaction, or maybe the member is complaining about a policy you can't do much about. So in this situation, you can acknowledge their experience while explaining that the policy is in place and you'll do better to ensure all members are made better aware. And that kind of leads us into the next olive branch of offering to make things right. You can mention that you're going to make changes or improvements as a result of their feedback, or if there's something you can offer directly to the reviewer. So, yeah, if that's the case, or if you need to go into further personal details, encourage the reviewer to contact you directly. Because again, you don't want to get into a big public back and forth and sharing too much information. And then welcome back the customer for another chance to earn their business. And if you'd like, you can ask them to call or ask for a specific person to talk with them. So building reviews can seem hard, but the key to success is to just ask. You'll be surprised by how many people would submit a quick review if you just ask, especially if it's coming from their favorite teller or a loan officer who really came through for them. Problems with this strategy occur when you rely on customers to either find out for themselves where to review you or to remember to do it later on in their day. By that time, they have moved on with their lives and have probably forgotten. So you need to tell them specifically what sites to go to, or better yet, provide a direct link to your review page. Send an email to your customers with a simple request for their feedback, and then track those who have responded and send follow-ups to those who have not. And then once someone has left a review, remember to respond to it. So making this all happen can be a bit tricky without a plan and the proper tools to help connect everything. So we offer a review management tool that can make it much easier for your team to request reviews and manage it all from one location. It gives you the ability to request reviews via email or text message and send individual requests or in bulk directly from the tool. You can customize what your requests say. So if you want to mention the specific branch location they visited or anything to individualize it, you can. And you can also determine how many automatic follow-up requests you'd like to make. So if they ignored the first one, you can set it to send a follow-up reminder automatically a few days later. And it gives you the ability to segment your efforts per branch. So that way, your team from branch A doesn't get mixed up with branch B, and all of your requests are directing people to the correct location. You can also set up notifications to keep track of new reviews as they come in, so you can respond promptly. All right, so we covered a lot today on local SEO. So as promised, here are the 5 actionable items you can get started on as soon as we're done. So first, head to scan.lk-cs.com and scan your branches to see how accurate your citations are. If you have a score of 100%, that's not good. So you have some work to do. Then check to make sure your Google My Business listings are claimed for each branch. And if not, look for that Own This Business link to start the process. Make a list of keywords and locations you'd like to start ranking for, you can optimize your site with. And review your site's user experience to make sure it's providing the best outcomes. And review your content. Are you offering enough information about your products and services? And is it beneficial to the reader? And then set up a meeting to create a plan for requesting and responding to reviews. So, who would be involved? How would that process work? And what outside assistance would you need? Well, thank you for your time today. I hope you picked up some good information you can work with. If you have any questions, you can, or even would like to see a demo of the tools I spoke about, feel free to contact your sales rep or myself. And please be sure to look out for our next webinar, subscribe to our YouTube channel to get all of our latest webinars, and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn.